Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star original continent based on novel. So let's start. Bur felt endless pain permeating his body. It came from the improvement of his life gene. He couldn't even think straight. He could barely open his eyes. All of a sudden, even the mountain range in the distance became clear. Bur felt that his hearing and sight were thousands of times better. So powerful. Impressive. The scars on Bur's face had already disappeared, and his face became clear. He extended his thick arms and swung them. The armor on his body cracked. Bur felt that the armor on his body was as fragile as paper. It could be destroyed if he simply tightened his muscles, which dazed him. Bur immediately started to search himself, and he was totally shocked. Is this real? Bur floated in the sky, and the original power in his body made him growl. He surged like a trace of light, then flew in an S-shaped curve. He dove and stopped when just 1 inch away from the ground. It's real. I became a saint. And I'm a pinnacle saint now. It's only 1 step away from a legend. Ha ha ha. The Yuan Ao Supreme God. The Great Povah God. Bur was exhilarated. There were billions of life forms on Yuan land, and it was a long way from level 1 to level 9. Bur, as an example, had become an apprentice of a knight, and all he had done was to deal with minor issues for a second level knight. He could grow only after being instructed. After becoming a knight, he would need to go through one war after another, wars among horde leaders and even wars among empires. He had been to armies and slave camps, and he had survived all of them. He successfully passed level 3 and level 4 and entered Mighty Flame Family, becoming one of its knights. Mighty Flame Family was a family that ruled a large area, and there was a saint in the family. It was extremely difficult to progress from level 3 to level 4. And this was the case from level 6 to level 7 as well. As for becoming a saint from level 9, it was even more difficult. Once someone became a saint, he would be able to travel the sky and land and to become a great being on Yuan land. When someone became a legend, it was an incredible achievement. It would be easy for them to establish a horde leader kingdom, and once someone became a half-god, he would be able to establish an empire. Those who were under level 3 didn't matter at all. It had taken Bur decades to become a 5th level knight. Saint. I'm now a pinnacle saint, and I'm 1 step away from becoming a legend. Bur was thrilled. I heard that only being blessed by God can make someone's power surge like this. Otherwise, it might take me thousands of years to become a pinnacle saint. That great being must be a god. Isn't that Povah God? Bur's body trembled. There were hundreds of gods on Yuan land, and each of them ruled areas of trillions of square miles. Other god. Bur was terrified. Godly wars were the norm on Yuan land. I can't tell anyone, not even my wife and children. It'll be a disaster if I do so. Bur clenched his teeth and smirked. He looked toward Mighty Flame Castle. Mighty Flame Castle. The leader only became a saint around 100 years ago, and it's a long way to go for him to become a pinnacle saint. My joyful days have come. I'll rule a land, build a castle, and have tens of thousands of women living in my castle. Bur shook his body, and the armor turned into ashes. He gathered his original power and made new armor, then flew toward that mighty flame castle. Luo Feng stood in the sky and overlooked the mountains in the distance. Furious Flame Mountain. The target is there. Luo Feng looked in the distance. The ancestral god from the ancestral god school showed up. Is it a life, or a valuable? Luo Feng had already completely forgotten about Bur who he just rescued. He only needed to get to know the world, which was why he had chosen Bur, and he had compensated him by improving his life gene level. According to the memories of Bur, the mountain in front of Luo Feng was called Furious Flame Mountain, and a legend lived in there. A legend? Luo Feng shook his head and smiled. Although Yuan land was in a universe secret region, Yuan Ao Master put too many life forms in the land, which led to overpopulation. They were only able to get a tiny portion of universe energies. Besides, Yuan Ao Master only seized life forms from weak races, who had limited potential, so most of the individuals on Juan land were not more powerful than adult Earthlings. Level 1 to Level 3 were under Star Traveler level. Level 4 to Level 6 were Star Traveler level, and Level 7 to Level 9 were Star level. Saints were at Universe level. Legends were at Domain Lord level. Half-deities were Sector Lords. As for deities, they were undying. More than one legend lives in this angry flame mountain, Luo Feng thought, as he was able to sense the power ripple. I can't let anyone go. Luo Feng became solemn. Angry Flame Mountain was over 600,000 miles long, and there were powerful demon beasts living in it, so no civilians were living around the mountain. Deep inside Angry Flame Mountain, in a black castle surrounded by mountains, boiling magma flowed under the castle, and there were strange beasts living in the magma. There were golden-armored knights around the castle, and all of them were at the 9th level. The castle was surrounded by magma. A black metal bridge was connecting the door and the outside. A white-caped elder approached from the distance, and each step took him over 300 feet. There was white light glowing around him, and Luo Feng could tell that he was a legend. Soon, that legend walked onto the bridge. Open the door, shouted the elder. Yes. The door opened slowly, and a flamed knight stood in front of the door. That knight was also a legend. Why are you here? Asked the flamed knight. Don't you know you can't come here unless you have something urgent? I do have something urgent to tell the great Povah god, said the white-caped elder as he walked inside the black castle. Inside a palace of the castle, a gleaming undying fighter sat on the throne. Povah god looked down at the servants and was listening to his servants report to him. He felt superior. After all, he manipulated the wars and the slaughtering in his territory, making the empires more and more hostile toward each other. He would only show himself when everything went out of his control. You've done well, said Povah god. The white-caped elder began to tear up from the great deity's compliment. The white-caped elder was waiting for instructions for the next step. However, he saw a blurry, golden light. He raised his head and found that. Where's Povah god? Povah god, who had previously been on the throne and emanating golden light, had disappeared. The servants and the 3 half-deities were all dazed. Then a half-deity said, Povah god is resting now. I need instructions for the next step. The white-caped elder was anxious, but he answered, sure. Those in the palace all left, including the half-deities, as they all thought that Povah god had left for something important. What they didn't know was that Povah god was sitting on the throne all the time, but those sector lords and domain lords weren't able to see him anymore. Who are you? Povah god gazed at the man in front of him, terrified as never before. The dimming golden light covered an area of 300 square feet, and the power contained in the golden light petrified Povah god. Luo Feng looked at Povah god in front of him, and couldn't help laughing at himself inside. I was so careful and performed the most powerful binding skill I have, Golden Country. I didn't expect my target to be a weak undying fighter. Luo Feng had performed Golden Country in the sky above Angry Flame Mountain, and he immediately narrowed the range when he found that his target was too weak, which was why those half-deities saw a golden flash. Tell me everything important in your life, said Luo Feng. Sure, said Povah god. I was born in. Luo Feng seemed to be listening, but actually, he had performed an illusion. After all, his mind and willpower were at the Universe Master level, and he was a spiritual force leader even though he was not good at illusion. He was a great being following the engraving path. He had created several illusion skills, which easily trapped Povah god. Luo Feng easily searched his memories. Luo Feng could tell from the golden toad that his target was Povah god in front of him. However, he couldn't believe that a mere undying fighter could be harmful to the original universe, or that ancestral god sent him just for this. Luo Feng felt that something wrong. He could sense that Povah god was only a part of the whole. An undying fighter, who had lived for an eternity, had enormous memories. Fortunately, Luo Feng's brain worked incredibly fast, though it still took him around 5 minutes to categorize all the memories of Povah God. Still, the result dazed Luo Feng a little bit. I didn't find anything special, or worth hesitating. Luo Feng was a bit surprised. I became a general after becoming a saint, said Povah God, speaking like a robot. He had lost all the light in his eyes. Luo Feng looked at Povah God, frowning. Povah God was an undying fighter born on Juan Empire, and he had started from the bottom. After becoming a half-deity, he had established an empire. He led the empire to join wars upon wars, and after the empire fell, he started to adventure in Juan land alone. Eventually, he became an undying fighter. Povah God's soul was then controlled by Torch Smelting Master God, and then he joined Torch Smelting Master God. Based on Povah God's memories, the hundreds of undying fighters on Juan land were divided into 2 teams. One of them was on the Torch Smelting team, and the other was on the Mohi team. When the teams fought each other, they were led by top-tier great beings from different empires, and they were led by undying fighters. That's all. There's nothing special in Povah God's memories. Luo Feng was confused as the memories of Povah God were normal. Now that I know his memories. Luo Feng looked at Povah God sitting in front of him. Following Ancestral God's order, everyone who makes the eyes of Golden Toad turn red should be killed. The dimming golden light was surrounding Povah God as well. Luo Feng moved his mind, and the power from Golden Country annihilated Povah God's godly body. The power of Golden Country was much stronger than a Universe Master's control over space and time, and it was at the same level as a top-tier domain-type true treasure. If it was fully utilized, top-tier universe overlords would be executed. As for a mere undying fighter, a mere slice of power could annihilate him. There was a vast desert on the vast Juan land, and at the end of the desert was a huge forest, at the end of a boundless swamp bordered by mountain ranges rimmed with volcanoes. A towering palace stood at the center of the volcanoes. This was the top godly palace of the Torch Smelting camp. It was where Torch Smelting Master God lived. The sinister aura of the godly palace, and the sector lord-level demon beasts, were enough to stop countless great beings. Torch Smelting Master God was holding a scepter, and standing at the high of the godly palace. He looked confused. Povah God died. Based on the information Povah God gave me, the enemy is someone too powerful for him to fight, and he can emanate golden domain, which was strong enough to terrify him. Can it be other Master Gods? Torch Smelting Master God wondered. He didn't expect it to be a being from the outside, as Yuan Ao's secret region belonged to Yuan Ao Master, who had a high status in the universe. Yuan Ao Master had become a universe master at the start of the universe, and he wasn't easy to contend with. No powers were willing to mess with Yuan Ao Master. Torch Smelting Master God found it impossible for Yuan Ao Master to have killed that one. That power must have at least come from a Master God. Based on the descriptions, he looks like someone from Ka Vulture Clan, but Ka Vulture Clan doesn't have a Master God. Was he turned from my enemies? Also, that golden domain is so powerful. Is that from a domain-type true treasure? Or a domain-type treasure? There were only a few dozen universe knights under Yuan Ao Master, and only 3 of them had been bestowed true treasures. Why didn't he kill Povah God right away? Torch Smelting Master God was irritated. Although he controlled Povah God's soul, Povah God had stopped sending messages after first contact with the mysterious being, and he couldn't get in touch with Povah God. As for God Country transportation, Torch Smelting Master God hadn't even thought of that, as he didn't want to fight a Master God. Humph. I'll wait and see. There are over 100 undying fighters under me, and I won't take revenge this time. If you do that again, don't blame me for starting a war between Master Gods. The red eyes of Torch Smelting Master God glinted fiercely. Luo Feng floated above Angry Flame Mountain. His golden horned beast body and Mosha body were checking the objects in Povah God's world ring, but none of those objects made the toad's eyes turn red. Luo Feng waved his hand, and a golden token showed up in his hands. Ancestral God. Luo Feng used it with familiarity, as it was exactly like the token given by Master Sitting Mountain Guest. Ancestral God gave a response quickly. What is it, Luo Feng? I found a target, who was an ordinary undying fighter. He was the one who made the eyes turn red. I've inspected his memories, and that undying fighter has always been living on Juan land. There was nothing special about him. Luo Feng reported. Did I finish the task? Ha ha ha. It's only been a short while, Luo Feng. You've only killed an ordinary undying fighter, who was in no way harmful to the original universe. Keep killing. Kill all those who turn the eyes red. Then when should I stop? Asked Luo Feng, as he didn't want to keep killing. I'll tell you when it's done, and the universe origin will tell me too. Go, Luo Feng. According to the instructions given by the universe origin, that Povah God is only a foot soldier. Keep searching. The communications were cut off. Luo Feng put away the golden token and shook his head. The golden toad can only inspect an area of 100 million square kilometers. Juan land is so large, and I've only searched a small part of it after half a year. If I keep doing that, I might alert someone. Fortunately, no one on Juan land can escape me, unless there are some hidden supreme beings. I might as well begin. Luo Feng infused his Shawu wings with his burning godly power. Dimming golden light enveloped everywhere on Juan land, the magma, the abyss, and the islands where demon beasts lived or death ocean. They were all covered by the golden light. Even the apex of Juan land was covered. This was golden country. Golden country could cover an area with a diameter of 80 light-years at most, and Juan land was obviously much smaller, so it was incredibly easy to encompass the whole land. Even top-tier universe overlords can be killed in my golden country, and even a universe master will be slowed down significantly here. Luo Feng immediately stopped the space ripples so that no great beings could teleport themselves. It was easy to manipulate time and space in golden country, so a space seal was easy. Luo Feng stood above Angry Flame Mountain, and sensed everywhere on Juan land carefully. Why is there a trace of gold on the sky? Look. It's like the ocean is covered with a golden yarn. Everyone on Juan land was thrilled. Fortunately, the golden light was inconspicuous. It covered an enormous area, so one could only distinguish the golden light by looking carefully. What is that? Is it a master god? All the undying fighters on Juan land were shocked. The weaker ones couldn't feel it, but undying fighters could tell that there was boundless power contained in the dim glow, as if they would all be annihilated if it was let out a little bit. Little did they know, the two master gods, Torch Smelting Master God and Mohi Master, were also terrified. Torch Smelting Master God held a scepter, and the golden light was binding him like ropes. He couldn't move at all. His eyes were filled with terror. How is it so powerful, he said. I can't even move a bit. And the space around me is sealed. Ah? Damn it. Mohi Master God's scorpion tail was slashing, but the golden light didn't even give him a chance to fight. His triangular head roar. Yuan Ao Supreme God. Are you punishing me? Luo Feng nodded. Good. No hidden beings. The most powerful beings are those two universe knights, Torch Smelting Master God and Mohi Master God. Luo Feng freed other areas and only kept the space seal around Torch Smelting Master God and Mohi Master God. Luo Feng teleported twice, and showed up 10 million kilometers away from Torch Smelting Master God and Mohi Master God, inspecting the area using the golden toad. Mohi Master God didn't make the eyes red, but Torch Smelting Master God. This is the origin. Luo Feng stood above a volcano around 10 million kilometers away from Torch Smelting Master God, and the eyes of the golden toad turned red even from a distance. Standing in midair above the mouth of the volcano, Luo Feng disappeared suddenly. Then, one after another, domains connected to the dark continent started appearing, but Luo Feng would always appear within 1 million miles of a place where undying spirits could be found. Not red. Not red. Red. Not red. After teleporting for a few hundred times, within an extremely short time, he finished surveying the few hundred undying spirits. Out of these undying spirits, there was a total of 12 who could cause both eyes of the golden toad to turn red. Being prudent, Luo Feng immediately put all 12 undying spirits within a dim, sealed space around them to ensure that all 12 undying spirits were unable to move an inch. Now, it is time to go meet Torch Smelting Master God. Luo Feng trod ahead in midair. One step forward, and he arrived directly above the towering godly palace, which was completely surrounded by volcanoes. Luo Feng frowned. There are 2 targets within this godly palace. With the golden toad, he could detect that there were 2 targets beneath him. Within the godly palace, in a quiet palace hall, Torch Smelting Master God held onto his scepter as he stood in one spot. He was unable to break free from the invisible golden light restraining him. Suddenly, there was absolute silence. A man with dark green wings was slowly descending from the sky and landed in this palace hall, which was in the highest point of this godly palace. Yet he was completely unnoticed by the guards stationed around the entire godly palace. Torch Smelting Master God was a little intimidated when he saw the man before him. He said, "If I may ask, why is my lord here at Yuan Ao's secret region? If I am clear of your purpose of visit, I can request an audience for you with Yuan Ao Master. Why not address him as Yuan Ao's supreme god?" Luo Feng jested. At the same time, he made a speedy judgment that this Torch Smelting Master God was the cause of the eyes of that golden toad turning red, and not some strange object. "My lord, you possess such power," Torch Smelting Master God said reverentially. "You must be a universe master from other powers of the universe." Luo Feng made no denial. "My lord, please feel free to give me your orders," Torch Smelting Master God said. "I, Torch Smelting, will do my best to serve you." "Let me ask you," Luo Feng began. "Please speak your mind." Torch Smelting Master God had barely started when his eyes darkened as though he had already entered an illusion. Luo Feng frowned as he looked at Torch Smelting Master God before him. "I suppose he is only an elementary knight. Yet, I could only manage to make him fall into an illusion. I am unable to search his memory." To search memories, firstly, one had to be good in the skill itself. Secondly, both parties must be very far apart. This Torch Smelting Master God was also a universe knight, albeit a very weak one, but he was very good with aspects involving souls. So Luo Feng could at most push him into an illusion, but was unable to search his memories. Luo Feng stood where he was, waiting silently for a moment. Finally, he cannot hold out any longer. Luo Feng smiled and nodded. Torch Smelting Knight had finally fallen into the illusion. Of course, this merely meant that Luo Feng could carry out his interrogation. He was still unable to search his memories. "Let me ask you, what special secret do you have?" Luo Feng asked. With his scepter in his hands, Torch Smelting Knight started speaking in a mechanical manner. "I sneak attacked Stoic God and killed him." Luo Feng listened with furrowed brows. Something was not right. It did not sound as though there was anything threatening the primal universe. The primal universe was impregnated with hundreds of millions of races. Even the invincible existence, human form, teacher origin, was suppressed by the universe origin. To be able to be termed as something that boded ill against the primal universe, where even teacher origin was mobilized, this was definitely no trivial matter. "Have you ever left Yuan Ao's secret region? Has Yuan Ao Master ever ordered you to handle some important matters? Have you ever obtained any unique treasures, or met with any unique encounters? What makes you stand out from the other knights? What is special about you?" Luo Feng interrogated Torch Smelting Master God without pause. Completely immersed within his illusionary world, Torch Smelting Master God answered all Luo Feng's questions with everything he knew. The more Luo Feng heard, the more confused he got. Then, he was struck by a sudden thought. A figure encased in golden light flew over. This was the other target found within the godly palace that caused the eyes of the golden toad to turn red, an undying spirit. This tall and burly life form was black all over. He merely stood in one spot with lifeless eyes. He had already fallen under Luo Feng's control, wordlessly and without any warning. Search his memories. Luo Feng was unable to search Torch Smelting Master God, but he was able to search those of this Undying. A moment later, Luo Feng looked at the black and burly Undying life form and Torch Smelting Master God. So coincidental. This Undying spirit and the one I killed previously, Povah God, are all soul servants of this Torch Smelting Master God. Combining the two memories, Luo Feng discovered this common ground. With a thought in mind, Luo Feng made his move. In certain faraway lands within the Dark Continent, there were 12 Undying spirits, who could also cause the eyes of the golden toad to become red. With a single thought, Luo Feng released them from the sealed space. Then, by switching time and space, he shifted all of them into this towering palace hall. Within this palace hall, 15 figures suddenly gathered. Now, Luo Feng was with Torch Smelting Master God and 13 Undying spirits. Every one of them here are targets. Search. Immediately, Luo Feng went to the trouble of painstakingly searching the memories of every Undying spirit present. Apart from Torch Smelting Master God, he searched the memories of all the other 13 Undying spirits. Then he carefully carried out comparisons. There is nothing out of the norm. They are all very ordinary Undying. And they crawled out step by step from the Dark Continent. Luo Feng analyzed this. The only common thing was, all 13 of them are soul servants of Torch Smelting Master God. Torch Smelting. Luo Feng looked at Torch Smelting. How many soul servants do you have? A total of 20, Torch Smelting Master God replied. 4 have been annihilated. 16 left. Luo Feng took one look at the 13 Undying spirits standing there expressionlessly, as though they were in a coma, and asked, all are Undying? There are 3 demigods, Torch Smelting Master God replied. Under the command of which Undying spirit, from which empire? Luo Feng asked. Since he had already searched the memories of these 13 Undying spirits, he was naturally familiar with the geographical location of the entire Dark Continent. According to what Torch Smelting Master God said, Luo Feng was able to locate the 3 soul servant of Torch Smelting Master God, who were sector lords. He searched their memories, but the results were surprising. These 3 sector lords were unable to cause the eyes of the golden toad to turn red, so obviously, they were not the targets he was looking for. These 3 sector lords were not targets. But, out of all the soul servants of Torch Smelting Master God, every single one of the Undying servants are targets. Even Torch Smelting Master God himself is a target. Luo Feng pondered this. But Torch Smelting Master God himself does not seem to present any problems. Could it be? Torch Smelting, is Yuan Ao your master? Luo Feng asked. Yes, Torch Smelting Master God replied in a mechanical manner. Luo Feng laughed suddenly. So, it is really him. Luo Feng continued pressing him for more information. Do you know whether Yuan Ao Master has other soul servants? Yes, there are 2 that I know of, Torch Smelting Master God replied in his mechanical voice again. Tell me their names. Where are they? Luo Feng asked. A short while later. Including Torch Smelting Master God, all 14 targets were annihilated without a second thought. Luo Feng retreated from this golden kingdom, and immediately teleported away from the Dark Continent. Then he proceeded to an even wider continent out of the 12 large continents, Towering Continent. Within the mezzanine spaces corresponding to the universe space of the Yuan Ao secret region, in the depths of the limitless space debris, there was a vast, towering god country. This god country was mighty and boundless. Suspended in mid-air above this god country was a gigantic continent. This suspended continent had many black chains that were all at least 60 million miles long, plunged straight into the bottomless ocean. The entire suspended continent seemed unable to float away, because of these few hundred huge black chains connected to it. Right in the core of this suspended continent, there was a vast lake. Within the lake, there was a boiling hot black fluid. If any universe knight were to fall within this black fluid, he would be burned and annihilated within an instant. There was an incomparably towering figure lying over there. This towering figure was like a giant sculpted out of a gigantic mountain, and it lay within the vast lake brimming with that boiling hot black fluid. The giant sat up suddenly. His head was squarish with only one large eye and a mouth. His godly body wore grey armor covered with a layer of mercury-like liquid set into a continuous motion. The moment he sat up, it was as though a towering mountain were emerging out of a lake filled with black fluid. The black fluid continuously flowed from his body to return to the lake. He was none other than the famous Yuan Ao Master. The misty, golden domain, Yuan Ao Master said in a low voice. Even Torch Smelting is unable to resist. Looks resembling that of the Ka Vulture clan, with an invincible power. Oh. He has fallen into an illusion. Torch Smelting Master God was his sole servant, so naturally, they could communicate via their souls even if they were very far away from one another. Even at the very instant, he knew he had fallen into an illusion. Torch Smelting Master God was quick at providing Yuan Ao Master with information immediately. What a pity. He quickly fell into enemies' hands, and was no longer able to transmit information. What strong power! A top-tier universe overlord. No. He must be a universe master. Yuan Ao Master waited in silence. Only a short moment later, Yuan Ao Master felt his servant, Torch Smelting Master God, being annihilated. He really is dead. Yuan Ao Master affirmed the fact in a low voice, his eyes burning with a strange emotion. Everything is happening as expected. Once the plan is activated, the Ancestral God School, the self-proclaimed guardians of the primal universe origin, will be sure to make a move. Indeed, this move came pretty quickly. The Ancestral God School must have sent a universe master. Bring it on. What a great sacrifice, he continued, but Ancestral God School coming here doesn't really mean much. Since the great being from the Ancestral God School has arrived, I should also move on to my next step, the demons. The Space Beast Alliance. The Northern Territory Alliance. They should all make their way here one after the other. Luo Feng was oblivious to everything that was happening. Strange, he thought. It is understandable if Yuan Ao Master did not know about me killing Povah God. But I killed his soul servant, Torch Smelting Master God. Yuan Ao Master would surely learn of it almost immediately. Luo Feng stood high up in the sky of the vast tower continent, with slightly furrowed brows as he considered. But Yuan Ao Master has not made a single move at all. Yuan Ao Master might have very strong power, but Luo Feng had no fear for him. But Yuan Ao Master did not appear. Luo Feng felt that something was not right. If there was someone slaughtering great beings in the human territory, then universe masters of the human race would have reacted and appeared quickly. Besides, based on the information obtained from earlier investigations, Torch Smelting Master God and the other Undying Soul Servants were already confirmed as targets. Since Yuan Ao Master was the master of Torch Smelting Master God, it was very likely that the source might be found with Yuan Ao Master. We shall see. I am very interested to know what tricks he has up his sleeves and what could mean harm to the primal universe. With a thought in mind, Luo Feng made his move. An endless, misty, golden light, bringing with it the power of Milky Way Horde Leader, landed directly on this towering continent with a maximum diameter of 5.1 light-years. At this very moment, not one of those great beings on towering continent would ever hold hopes of eluding Luo Feng's control. This video will end here.